My name is Claire Ann Harf, and I'm the Executive Director of MAPS, Media Institute. Some of you may have seen myself and our team and crew running around like wild group of people that we are. We were hired by the college to help document the entire conference. So as part of that, they also asked us to present. So that's why I'm here. And you might notice that, and I know I don't have big screen, but Drew, I'm used to presenting this way. Amelia Blackfoot was supposed to co-present with me. She is a recent graduate of Harlem High School. And for those of you who aren't from Montana, that's on the High Line, on the Fort Belknap Indian community. Amelia has been a MAP student since 8th grade. So we've worked with her since 2017. As you'll see as we go through the slideshow and see some of the films we've produced with her and other students in Fort Belknap, as well as other tribal communities across the state, you'll see why we asked her to co-present with me. So her little sister, Eagle Rose, is graduating Head Start tomorrow. And we didn't know that when we signed up for this presentation. So Amelia's on the train from Browning to have her. She should be getting there in about a half hour. So she was very disappointed. She couldn't present with us. She does this pretty regularly for MAPS as both a conference presenter, virtually as well as in person. So it's always good practice for all of us. So please know she wishes she could be here. And as her co-presenter, I'll present both on our behalf as well as MAPS. So with no further ado, I'm getting used. I know I can use that screen. I guess can I really use the screen? Does it work this way? No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, good. So, okay, Drew, how do I control? Okay, I got it. Truth be told, I always have an IT person because my nickname is Claire Analog. No joke. And when I was hired by MAPS 10 years ago, I had an email I rarely used. And so my deal was, if I take on this job, I need help. So thank you for your patience and the laughter. I appreciate it. So the presentation that Amelia, myself, and our team put together was a broad overview of our nonprofit and our history, and then really focusing on the work that we've done across the state with youth in 4 tribal communities. So that's what we're here to learn about. We did prepare 4 videos. 1 is 1 minute and 20 seconds. 2 are a shy 9 minutes, and then 1 is about 3. We have a little bit of delay when it starts to buffer, but if it can play, we'll obviously watch them. And then if it can't, I'll disseminate all of our links are all on our website to the film. So just know that may be a hiccup. Yeah, you can hear me okay? Yeah, okay, good. So first of all, this is a collage of the many brilliant students we get to work with across the state. Depending on where you're from, you may recognize some of the students in your communities. Yeah, so we just wanted to get a visual idea. I'm representing thousands of people here today. As I said, we're 19 years old. We serve students primarily in rural areas of Montana and in tribal communities. We're just starting to network with tribal youth in urban communities with Western Native Voice and school districts over in Billings. But that's our audience. Our team is about 17 people. And then not to mention the thousands of students we've worked with over the last 19 years. So welcome. Hello. So MAPS, I'll talk about what our acronym stands for, but as every nonprofit has, we have a mission. And our mission is threefold. It's to use professional media arts instruction, compassionate mentoring, and that's an important word I hope will resonate through some of the work we do. And then engaging the youth we work with their communities. And that can be in a variety of ways. But those are the three things when anyone approaches us about working with them, it has to point back to those three aspects of what our organization is about. More about MAPS. So we were, for those of you who aren't from Montana, Hamilton or the Bitterroot Valley is about an hour south of Missoula. So when you look at the state, we're in the southwestern corner. We were started by a retired Hollywood producer. He came to western Montana in the late 90s, was done with Hollywood, came from an artist family, filmmaker family, and had he not started directing energy into MAPS, he probably would have got divorced because he was a busybody and quite an entrepreneur. And one thing he noticed in the Bitterroot, which is very rural, especially 20 years ago, was that if students weren't involved in sports or in our community church activities or 4-H, they were usually getting into trouble or they were just idle. And so he approached every school district in our valley, which there are 6, if he could contribute his skill, his equipment, and his time for free to teach a filmmaking class. All but one of the school districts denied him. And the one that did is from my hometown, Corvallis, Montana. And the first class had 20 kids sign up in a closet about the size of like that space over there, all his equipment. And at that time, that's when he reached out to me. I was a consultant for nonprofits, and he said, I think I have a good idea. I don't want it to be in the school districts. What are our options? And we decided to form a 501c3 so we could operate more freely without the constraints of school districts, which you'll see could have come up in some of the subject matter students wanted to be in. So another interesting and something I'm very proud of, and it's my responsibility to make sure all our programming is free, no matter who. So no matter what the socioeconomic, no matter what the background, no matter what the interest, the minute they cross a threshold into our studios or our projects, they're artists. And it's for a lot of these students, it's the first time they're interacting in that creative process and really being part of it, right? So that's just something we just wanted to eliminate any kind of economic barrier for any student. So sorry on that. I know my time limit on my machine, so you got it? That always requires me, got it? Thank you, Roman. All right, so in addition to film, MAPS teaches graphic design, music production. We have recording studios, new technologies like robotics, apps, VR. We just wrapped up a 3D printing class. We also teach podcasting, photojournalism. We have a future readiness component to all of, no matter what that would look like. We're not a pipeline for schools. We're really here to meet students with where they're at. And then our acronym, MAPS, it stands for Media Arts in the Public Schools. And again, that's what it was originally established as, because Peter, the founder, thought it would be in the schools. So we changed our name to MAPS Media Institute when we formed the 501c3, but kept the acronym. Real brief history of our organization. As I said, we opened in 2004, so we'll be 19 this year. How we started working with tribal youth, because for that time, from 2004 to 2015, we were really Bitterroot based. We were growing that program. We started from a classroom. We now rent a 5,000 square foot studio, 2 large production rooms, and that's where all the other recording studio, et cetera, are. But in 2014, a federal program that has programs in states called Gear Up. So it's branded by state. So Montana Gear Up reached out to MAPS and asked if we would sign a 5-year contract to bring our program to students, Confederate Salish Pend Oreille students on the Flathead Indian Reservation, which is about an hour north of Missoula, about 2 hours from us. And heck yeah, we said absolutely. And that was our lead-in to working with tribal youth. what's an important thing there is we weren't invited by the tribe. We weren't invited by tribal representatives. We were invited by schools. And that was a bridge we had to rebuild a few years later. And that was also an era we'll never make again. And as we get to know each other, Gus, we have really learned a lot. And so we have evolving guidelines, and it started with that first relationship with Gear Up. So that's something I look forward to talking with you about as far as our experience here in Montana. Another game changer for us was this one. This was a big one. And actually, that man right there is a big one too, because Drew came on board in 2016. And we won, MAPS won a national award called the National Arts and Humanities Youth Program Award. It's awarded to the 12 outstanding youth development organizations in the country. It had spanned various presidents from the early 90s all the way to 2016. President Trump took away that program, so it doesn't exist anymore, or his administration did. So we are the last ones to win it. Bittersweet, definitely bitter, because a lot of incredible organizations around the country. While it didn't give us, or the award didn't have a lot of money, what it did provide was many doors to open, right? Because it was a national recognition for a very small, and MAP's budget is still under $500,000. We're a very small nonprofit, so that was a game changer for us. And when I pointed out Drew, good timing on coming in, Drew. Drew and I have known each other for 30 years. He's a filmmaker from the Missoula community, awarded filmmaker. And he came in to take the lead on the bridging out to tribal communities. And we really needed a directed person, not only with skills, but with a good heart and good intention. And Drew is certainly that human being. You're gonna see a lot of the films that I share or the awards we talk about has been in the last 6 years. So it's definitely because of the foundation that everyone who worked with MAPS before us established, but then really hyped up once we received that award and were able to expand our staff to include folks like Drew. Another major thing that happened in 2017 was again, not the tribe, but the schools invited us in to do a seasonal program up on the Flathead Reservation. Again, that's 2 hours north of where we were. And so from 2017 to last year, we weren't able to do one this year just because of staffing. We would bring our program and partner with the tribal college up there, Boys and Girls Club, any other kind of CBO that would host us. And our team would drive up 2 to 3 days a week and offer that class. Drew still has relationships with some of those students. So, and several of those students are going into other media programs as they're graduating now. So we were able to track and continue building relationships with those students. That's the other thing too. We're not a one and done. Once we're in, and if the invitation is continually extended to us, we're going to keep showing up, right? Because that we recognize, and that's why I was really glad to hear about how long you'll be up here. It takes that with all of us, you know, and the more these students can connect with artists, sorry, Roman, the deeper they're going to go into having the courage to work on the type of projects we hope to work with. And then another big one for us, was, and I'm laughing because I'm remembering a conversation with Drew, like, how are we going to do this? But we opened up our second year-round brick and mortar in the capital in Helena. And the reason we did that is because the need, and we had the support of a very large school district, which is Helena School District. So even though it's not rural-based as far as the definition within the state, it still is. And that city in particular in our state does not have a lot of activities for students. So that program is going strong. We're in our 4th year. Every class is a waiting list. So that's a huge success to us. We have a great team running that program. Our values, really quick, and watching time so we can see some of these films. As I mentioned, obviously education. It's, again, all free, and we try to get the most professional artists we can. We're not educators by training, we're all artists. Even though my training is in visual arts, I also bring business, but that's all of our team either have their own businesses, production companies, etc. And we do cross into that STEM world, just because that's a well-funded, can be a well-funded content area. In addition to education, mentorship to me is equal in that. And again, it's just to, for a lot of, especially for the tribal youth, for a lot of them, it's the first time they're making deeper relationships with people outside of their community, right? For example, Amelia, she's now serving as AmeriCorps with us this year. She's been living with me for the past month, and her mom was like, there is no way I would trust my daughter with you had I not been working with you guys since she was in 8th grade, right? And that says a lot to our org. So in addition to mentorship, creativity, obviously, community, health, there's not enough for kids right now. There's just health should almost be at the top these days. And that's at both a physical, mental, social, and we embrace that within a creative health as well, and help students learn to understand what that means. Diversity, and that's everything from ethnicity and race and culture to abilities to perspectives. For reference, Ravalli County is one of the most conservative counties in the state of Montana. That says a lot. And we are seen as the free liberal arts org, but we have been embraced by that community on both sides of the aisle. So I think that's really important in a state like Montana, where we can still do that without isolating folks. And then the last two, story, right? So even if we're doing facilitating a website class or an AI class, whatever, we're still seeing where the story is within that, right? It doesn't have to be film, doesn't have to be a photo essay. There's always story somewhere. And then also helping students to learn how to dialogue about the work we're creating, the work they're learning about. It's amazing to me how little of that a lot of the students, no matter where, are having, and how to really talk about their work and then and exchange in really positive, worthwhile critique. So that's been a big push for our team, especially after COVID, as we all started to be together again. And then innovation, that's really important to our team. Evolution's constant. I'm going to share a story that I learned just at this workshop or this gig today on just how to be forward thinking all the time. Again, our classes, graphic design, new tech, music production, film, future readiness. For those of you who aren't from Montana, here's our program sites, project sites. So you can see this is our home base is Ravalli County. I can walk over here. You okay, Ruben? Yeah. So Ravalli County is where I'm from. That's where we launched. Salish Kootenai College is the Flathead Reservation, home to Salish, Bitterroot Salish, Kootenai, and Pend Oreille. Up here, obviously, is where we're at. Over here is Fort Belknap. And then over here is a huge project we did with the Fort Peck community. So we're getting everywhere. Down here is where we need to figure out how to get to, and we're working on it. This is an interesting business model Peter started, and we've continued with that. In addition to our after-school and summer programming, and we do some in-school programming, in addition to the project-based work like we're doing here, or that we'll watch some videos about. Part of our income stream, and for the most part, we have 3 revenue streams. Federal, state grants, it's about half. Client work is about 10%, or it's maybe edging closer to 20%, and then the rest is private foundations. And Gus, in this state, there's about 12 heavy hitters with private foundations, and that's it. That speaks a lot that we can still be receiving multi-year grants or repetitive funding from folks like that, because the competition's very thick for very few, right? It doesn't mean we don't go out of state, but that's significantly different than places like Minnesota, yeah. But so, for example, our students have made promo videos for easily 200 nonprofits in the past 19 years, probably more. But some of the more recent ones have been Montana Women Vote, Bitterroot Land Trust, Meals on Wheels, Special Olympics Montana, veteran services, any nonprofit that fits within our mission and isn't political or religious, that we just have to do that based on the 501c3, and that can get sticky sometimes, but we do have to protect that business structure. We pay our student crew. It's always led by instructors, but we incentivize them, we pay them. The BCC students you're seeing today, or this whole week, they're being paid as well as receiving credit. So any time, in addition to helping the students gain the experience, we're also going to help them gain resume builder, right, or money. So we value their time as the artists they are, no matter where they are in their journey. So this is a big one I'm here to talk about today, even if we can't watch all the videos. The MAPS Media Lab. Drew and I developed this program together along with many partners across the state, primarily in Indian country, and Office of Public Instruction is our big, as an anchor funder. Doesn't support the Media Lab, but it supports our first program and the Helena site. They have a department called Indian Ed for All, and then another department called Tribal Resilience, and they actually just changed their name. But a gentleman named Donnie Wetzel Jr., who's actually from up here, he runs that program, and he's our liaison. He makes all the introductions or advises MAPS on possible projects or who to work with. So that's a big one. Yeah, so how this work began, it really started, like I said, with that Montana Gear Up contract. Folks saw our work with the youth on the Flathead Reservation and then invited us to come into their community. We never ask, we always are invited. And even if that's done sideways and off grid, it's never like, hey, what can we do for you? It's always an invite to work with youth. That's any community, rural, tribal, native, non-native, doesn't matter. Another game changer, and you'll see, and this is where Amelia gets involved, Office of Public Instruction introduced MAPS to Harlem School District. We both received a grant from them that's specifically for after-school funding, and our team produced a video along with students all across the state about Montana after-school programs, and that's where we gained a lot of attention from folks. So I think what I'll do is I'll go through the slideshow and then I'll play the videos, if that would be okay for everybody, just in case we have that streaming problem. So I wanted to start with our work up here. This is kind of cluttery, but my apologies, but I wanted to acknowledge all of the awards. That's also another significant advantage of being a small state is dozens of MAPS student films have won regional film awards through the Academy, National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, the organization behind the Emmys. And they don't give out a student Emmy. It's called the Regional Student Production Award, and then they have a national one. And so these will be listed as for all of the films I show from the various communities we work in. But we started coming up here in 2017, and so this film, The Last Day, which is a narrative short, that won an honorable mention at the Fresh Films Northwest Film Festival out of Seattle. Imagination, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the Blackfeet word correctly, but it won a regional production award. And then this is a big one, and again, another game changer. Browning Rising Voices was a film, and I have it queued up if we're able to watch it at the end. That was a documentary we produced, a short form doc we produced with students at Browning High. Drew led that. We came up for several long weekends for 4 months. It's all about an incredible poetry program that's student driven and led at Browning High School. That film won the National Student Production Award. That is like, you know, we all celebrate all of the sports and everything. That is the highest award a high school filmmaker can win in the United States. So we had a pretty good party on that one, didn't we, Drew? We also, how our relationship with BCC started is we were invited by the tribe this time. So in 2021, we had a big correction on learning how to correctly learn to work with tribes, because in our experience, every community is different. But now we don't work in sovereign nations without the okay by the tribal council, first of all. Then we go to cultural councils. Then we often go to the education director. And then from the Tribal Historic Preservation Office, whether or not we're filming, doesn't matter where, it's just the protocol of how to do it. Usually getting letters from all of those offices as well. And then if we go to the school districts, so we kind of go the hierarchy of that. So school districts, that was the repair we needed to make. Originally, that's how we came in, and we thought we had the state agency behind us. Doesn't matter, you know, they're taking a way back seat as far as the sovereign nation. So, I wanted to allude to that, because how we started working with BCC is they invited us to just do an intro to filmmaking for a project some other folks are working up here on the 1895-96 treaty, if that's what you want to call it, between the Blackfeet Nation and the U.S. government. No film resulted from that. It was just a capacity building workshop, equipment orientation, story, interviews, practicing. But that's how Natalie, who organized this whole conference, and MAPS and myself started working together. So from there, she contacted us in January this year, and that's how we ended up here working with BCC students. So even though that's not our typical audience, typically we're 8th through 12th graders, we can adapt, and if the invitation's there and we have the team to deliver a professional experience, we're in. And Roman, would you say you have a thumbs up this week? Sideway, down? Okay, right on. Sorry, I put you on the spot. Let's see. So that's going to be the cue. Drew, I'm going to run all the videos at the end, so just so you know I'm skipping around. So next up, we're going to travel to Fort Belknap. So again, we're going to go from, here's where we're home. Here we are. Now we're headed over here to the High Line. And we have 2 films we have queued up for the end. The first one is Harlem Rap. That was a 3-day capacity build. Again, kind of similar to the one we did with BCC last year. Drew and another artist led that one. They went up to just like meet people and talk about maps and do a little bit of introduction to camera and audio. And there was a hip hop artist, spoken word artist, Hunter Gray, who's a junior at the time, sophomore, yeah, not graduating. And he happened to have a rap ready to go. And so they rolled camera, and that short minute, 21-second video was accepted into the Big Sky Documentary Film Festival, which is in Missoula, which Drew helped found, but had nothing to do with that entry getting in. And so the kids were able to come down, Q&A, 400 people. I mean, it was off the charts. So that experience, as you can see, we're showing up in Fort Belknap every year. And that's why Amelia is that student that we asked to come with us today, because she's been part of all of these projects except the first one, Harlem Rap. And sorry, this is actually an error. Sorry, everybody on that. That's from another community. But I wanted to show 2 bullet points down here. Last week, our team, including myself, this was a new one for us, and it was awesome. We did a character design and comic book class based on indigenous characters, whether or not the students went that way. But we worked with Harlem School District on developing that curriculum and OPI, and we're going to tighten and evolve that as well. But that was the first time that all the students received credit for a MAPS class. They all got and that's important, because a lot of these students are behind. It doesn't matter, again, where they live. So alternative education credits, dual enrollment credits, any way that we can help these kids finish up high school. But it's pretty challenging for us, because we're not educators. So we have to have somebody within the district to help advocate for that. And a lot of times our experience, they don't want to. So Harlem has completely embraced maps. And I thought they'd get a quarter credit, but they got a half. And I tell you, every single student was there at 8:30 a.m. and they delivered creating art until 4. And it was the first week after school let out. So, and then this is a big one. And this is a testament to maps. We are at about a 70% on a business arrangement where Fort Belknap Indian Community will welcome a year-round program up there. So it would be our 3rd site. It'd be massive for the state. It would have a lot of eyes on it, on potential for doing that in other communities. So we would move from project-based to year-round program-based. So yeah, stay tuned, because it's all coming together really quickly. So again, there is no way that could happen without all of that. The work and our commitment and the students' commitment and the students asking, that's what has welcomed that opportunity. So a lot of work. It's one line and it just speaks like 19 years to me. Another success, we had all the students, often they'd get, all of these films received awards, like regional, national nominations, and but the students were out, so there was never a celebration. You know, you think about when a team brings home the trophy or something. So our team and the Harlem team worked together to create a honoring for the students, and then the students hosted a film festival for the films they've made with maps, and then they also work with the Big Sky Film Institute. They do a teen doc intensive, a long weekend every spring, and they've made 2 fabulous shorts through that experience as well. So they had a full lineup, these high school students from the High Line in Montana, and had the Haver powwow not been rescheduled to be the same week or weekend, I know we would have had close to 400 people, but we had about over 200 folks show up. And an honor song and honoring and ceremony was given to all of the students, no matter what age they were at now, because at that point you're looking at 6 years. So a lot of those students have moved on. But yeah, it was definitely a highlight on my 10-year tenure with maps. These are 2 of the films. If we have time, we'll get to. I want to just take us over here now to the Fort Peck Indian community. We were invited, after the success of all of this work, we were invited to, and again, Drew ran this project, to co-produce the Buffalo Unity Project, which is an outstanding and progressive curriculum that a team of educators are putting together in Poplar, Montana. Very small community out there. And they invited us to document the first year or second year of that. That result was in a film called In This Together We Are One, which also received regional nominations from the Academy. Was accepted at Big Sky, received other regional awards in Seattle and Portland. And then from that, there was a Native Youth Demonstration Project. That's a 4-year grant. That's large money. Doesn't have to be with it's tribal based, right? So it can be anything from health or homework or community involvement. But they asked to contract with us during the pandemic, and we facilitated a 32-week mainly online program where Drew and 1 to 2 other instructors met with students virtually. We did a podcast. We adapted our lessons to accommodate as best we could. We were learning along with everyone else on the planet how to do this. But we did a podcast and a photojournalism. And then they also conducted a 2-week workshop in person in the spring. Oh, my apologies on the typo there. But in 2021. And that resulted in a second Buffalo Unity project called Peaceful as a Buffalo. All of this is very interesting. Now they're doing a student exchange as part of the Buffalo Unity Project with Harlem as their first first pilot project. So we were actually in Harlem this April to record, or to work with the students to record Poplar students coming over to Harlem as part of their Buffalo Unity projects, which does involve hunting and harvesting of a bison on the range that the students come out and learn and participate in. And then the students from Harlem went to Poplar to do the same thing. So the goal there is to grow into other communities and even with urban youth as well. So that's, if you're interested in any of this, a lot of it's online, and it's, as an educator, it's really, really beautiful to track, because it's working. And the goal, one of the goals on the Buffalo Unity Project is that it would be a curriculum in all schools, native and non, across the state. So another cool thing that's happening in the tiny state of Montana. Let's see, where are we going here? Oh, the Flathead. So sorry, we're gonna this map's my anchor. We're gonna come back over here to just north of Missoula, 2 hours from home base in Ravalli, to the Flathead Reservation of the Bitterroot Salish, Kootenai, and Pondere. So like I said, for 5 years, we took a break during 2020, like everyone. We've had an 8 to 13 week after school program, everything from film, and then we also worked with getting to be known as an internationally known photojournalist, Taylor Irvine. She's actually from up there, and she helped co-facilitate a 6-week photojournalism class, which is really well needed and attended after the COVID. So just wanted to highlight that, that program and the work she contributed. I'm gonna skip nominees, I'm just gonna go right to awards. So yeah, every year since, boy, even before we started working with youth, tribal youth, and then youth across the state, our students started winning regional awards back in 2015, 2014. And you're going to see where that took us just 2 weeks ago. We also submit student work to any high school festival that accepts high school work. So last year we had multiple. We had 7 wins, not just Waking the Generation, but that was the highest win they got for the Native Indigenous Student Academy for Cinematic Arts. And then this was our last big win. Actually, we just had a couple wins a couple weeks ago, but this is from last year. And then this is a big one. Oh no, this is from Browning, sorry. Yeah, this just happened. We did a Cutswood School up here in Browning, language immersion school. We worked with them in April 22 on the importance of language preservation, including Blackfeet and Native American Indian Sign Language. That received one of the regional wins. Beautiful film. I'm going to go down here. And then this just happened 2 weeks ago. MAPS actually received an Emmy Award, a real one, a trophy. Amelia, myself, and our communications marketing director, Jana Williams, who runs the Helena program, we went over to Seattle and walked the red carpet and had the spotlight on our organization and the students. And it was broadcast everywhere. And again, even though there's no money associated with this award, we will leverage it, and I know we'll get many invitations into communities, including that part of the state that we haven't been able to work with yet. So it's so interesting to just have that roll off the tongue, and it's 1 minute long, but it's 19 years of people and people who aren't here or maybe haven't been mentioned today. But when I accepted that award on behalf, it's certainly for the students who, because they don't have to be at MAPS, it's not part of their school. They choose to be there, and it's their work that made that happen. So I wanted to acknowledge, I know I talked a little bit about revenue streams earlier, but it does start with with the work in Indian country. It starts with tribal councils, cultural committees, historic preservation, tribal education, elders, knowledge keepers, community facilitators, local production companies. Tribal colleges are a big partner with us in Indian country too. So that would be Blackfoot Community College, Salish Kootenai College, Ani Nakota College up on the High Line, Fort Belknap, Fort Peck Community College. That's how we did that year-long program virtually. And then Stone Child on the Rocky Boy Indian community. You get a lot, maybe not a lot of money, but I'll tell you what, if you don't have local community support, you're not going to get in anywhere. So that is key, and that is my job, to go and do those face-to-face, and that matters. That really matters. So that's something we've always had support from our board to do. As far as the federal NEA, we're getting about one a year. They're small. It's small in the sense of, you know, some of the larger ones they give, but usually in the $30,000 to $50,000 range. U.S. Department of Ed, that money gets siphoned through our Office of Public Instruction. That's been anchor funding. We've had that funding about $150K a year. Again, that's just for those 2 brick and mortars, so we have to split it. But still, that anchor we know is going to come every year. So that's really helped us develop and continually design our programs to be, because that's the other thing. It's always evolving, whether it's equipment or whether it's tech, you know. So we have to be on it, and that's a massive cost to this org. Another thing, as far as I have to attribute this to the success of, which is again interesting in our state. I know I keep looking at you, Gus, but you're from out of town. We have phenomenal relationships with one of our senators, but over the years has been all of them. Our state reps too. Even no matter what was going on politically, it's changed a little bit, but we've always had great support. Letters, videos. We could get into the office of the governor with a 2-week notice if we needed like a 1-minute spot to highlight an award we won. And no matter what side they were on. That's the beauty of it. They all understood the gap MAPS is filling and the need for a collective response to what you should have access to. And that is everything we hope we're saying we do. Montana Office of Public Instruction, Montana Arts Council, that was our first funder, and they still are. The Montana Film Office, big supporter of us. Whether or not it's financed, they back us up on projects, programs, letters of support. Department of Labor and Industry, and then the Office of Tourism. We've received grants, projects, or just general support from. Obviously our school district partners, and then private funders. That goes on and on and on, but we just kind of gave the main ones who have supported tribal work. There's many more. All of this is on our website under the supporter page. And then of course we have one more collage, because we got Drew, you got to check it out. We got chaps in the boom pole. Drew took that photo, and when he sent that, I was like, we got $1 million shot, because it's just so awesome. But some of our students, yeah. And then, thank you guys for your time today. So yeah. Woo!